Okay, so I want you to just imagine for a second. Unless you're driving, maybe don't do this. But think about the classic spiritual toolkit. You know, you walk into a space that's all about clearing energy. What do you smell?
Oh, smoke. Immediately. I'm thinking sage, incense sticks, maybe a candle burning somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all ephemeral. The whole point is that it's temporary. You take the thing, you light it on fire, it turns to ash and smoke, and then it's gone.
Right. The tool gets consumed by the ritual
It's a
itself.
transaction, really. You trade the object for a feeling in the
A
air.
momentary release.
But the sources we're looking at today, they flip that whole idea on its head. What if you
Okay.
didn't have to burn it to get the benefit?
What if you could make it permanent?
Yeah. What if you could sort of freeze that scent, that energy, into something solid you could keep?
It's a really interesting shift, from release to retention. And honestly, from a pure materials point of view, it's a way more interesting thing to do with wood.
So today we are doing a deep dive into AURA Jewellery. We've been digging through their product descriptions, the botanical data on the woods they use, and the whole philosophy of this workshop out of Staffordshire.
And on the surface, okay, it's wooden jewelry. But when you get into the actual botany behind it, it is so much more than just carving a piece of wood.
We're basically unpacking two different stories here, right?
Uh-huh.
One is the cultural story, this idea of reimagining a shamanic tool as a permanent wearable thing.
And the other is pure botany. I mean, we get to talk about wood density, oil concentration, and why trying to glue these specific woods together is kind of a nightmare for any woodworker.
I am so ready to geek out on wood grain today. But let's start with the main event. The whole collection is built around Bursera graveolens.
Which is the botanical name for Palo Santo.
Holy wood.
Yeah.
And I feel like this stuff has had a huge moment over the last, 10 years? You see it everywhere now.
For sure. Yoga studios, wellness shops, everywhere. But most people just see the little bundle of sticks. They don't really know the story behind it.
So what are we actually talking about here?
Okay, so Bursera graveolens. It's a tree that's native to places like Peru, Venezuela, the Yucatan Peninsula. And that name, Palo Santo, isn't just marketing. It literally translates to holy wood, or the tree of life.
It has a long history.
A very long history. We're talking Incas, indigenous healers, modern shamans. For centuries, this was the go-to tool for clearing mala energia, bad energy.
Usually by burning it, like we said.
Right. But here's the thing, and this is the part I think most people miss when they just buy a stick online. There is a very specific biological rule for the wood to even be active.
This was the part of the research that just blew my mind. You
Yeah.
can't just go out with an axe and harvest it.
Well, you could, but you'd be getting something completely different. The source material is really clear on this. For the wood to have its spirit, and we can say its peak oil concentration, the tree has to die naturally.
Naturally. You mean like it just falls over in a storm or dies of old age?
Exactly that. And not only does it have to die on its own, it then has to lie on the forest floor and cure.
For how long?
Typically 4 to 10 years.
Right, so let me get this straight. If I cut down a living green Palo Santo tree,
Yeah.
it doesn't have that signature smell.
Not really, no. You'd get a very faint kind of grassy scent. See, the magic happens on the forest floor. The sap inside the dead tree starts to metamorphose. It concentrates into this amazing rich resin. That's what gives you that sweet, piney, lemony mint smell.
Wow. So the spiritual belief that the spirit of the tree only stays if it dies on its own terms is actually backed up by organic chemistry.
Yeah, ancient wisdom is often just thousands of years of very careful observation. And the AURA workshop, they're very specific about this. They say their wood is sustainably sourced and fully licensed.
And that licensing is a big deal, right?
It's crucial. Poaching Palo Santo is a huge issue. If you're buying wood that was cut live, you're essentially just getting expensive firewood. You're not getting the properties.
Okay, so we have this sacred wood that's lived a full life, died, cured for years, and it's saturated with these incredible oils. And the AURA concept is don't burn it.
Wear it. From smoke to solid, that's the whole pivot.
Their whole idea is creating a lasting personal connection. Which, I mean, it makes sense. If I burn a stick, the room smells nice for a bit if I'm wearing a piece of it. It's with me all day.
It totally changes the function. It becomes this tactile anchor. The descriptions talk about it having a steady, comforting presence. And a cool little detail, because it's polished, it actually warms up against your skin.
But does it still have the scent if it's all polished up?
Oh, absolutely. That oil concentration we talked about is deep in the fibers. It's not just on the surface. So as your body heat warms the pendant, it gently releases that fragrance. It creates this little sensory loop.
Let's talk about the intention side of this. And obviously, we're not doctors here. We're just reporting on what the sources claim. But the list of metaphysical properties is pretty long.
It's comprehensive, yeah. And it lines up with what you'd expect. They list things like energetic balance, grounding, centering.
Grounding is a word that gets used a lot.
But here, it's almost literal. You're wearing a piece of a tree that was rooted in the earth for decades. The simple psychological effect of touching something organic versus cold metal is, well, it's different. It pulls you back to the physical.
They also list clearing heavy or stagnant energy,
which is the classic use for smudging and just localized to your personal aura instead of a whole room. But they also mention physical claims from practitioners, things like boosting immunity, reducing muscle pain, stimulating circulation.
And again, these are traditional beliefs associated with the wood.
Right. But it shows you that in the culture it comes from, there isn't really a hard line between spiritual health and physical health. It's all connected.
Okay, so if this was just about simple Palo Santo pendants, we could probably wrap it up here. But looking at the pieces from this workshop, they're doing something visually aggressive.
The botanical fusion, this is where the craftsmanship gets really, really impressive. Palo Santo, on its own, is a fairly soft, light-colored wood. It's nice, but it's subtle.
And they are pairing it with some of the most exotic, dense hardwoods on the entire planet. The contrast is just wild. Let's walk through them.
Let's do it.
First up, Snakewood. Come on, that can't be its real name.
It sounds like a marketing name, but it's actually descriptive. It's from Northeast South America, or Suriname, Guyana. And it is, without a doubt, one of the most expensive hardwoods in the world, period.
Why? Is it just super rare?
It's rare, and it's a nightmare to work with. The tree itself is small, and that incredible snakeskin pattern only shows up in the very core of the heartwood. Plus, it's incredibly brittle. It loves to crack while you're shaping it.
So it's high risk for the artisan.
Very high risk, but very high reward. When you polish snakewood, it almost doesn't look like wood. It has this natural, high luster, like polished stone, so you put that shiny reptilian pattern next to the soft, matte grain of the Palo Santo.
The visual tension is amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, next. Thuya burr. This one just sounds ancient.
It is. This is an exotic softwood from the Atlas Mountains in North Africa. The name Thuya actually comes from the Greek word for sacrifice.
That is a heavy name for a tree.
Well, the ancient Greeks used to distill oil from it to use as incense in their religious rites. So again, you see the theme. It's a perfect partner for Palo Santo. You've got the South American holy wood and the Greek sacrificial wood, both tied to scent and spirit.
And what exactly is a burr? You see that on, like, fancy car dashboards, but what is it?
It's basically a deformity on the tree, a growth where the grain has just gone haywire, maybe because of an injury or fungus. So instead of straight lines, the wood fibers are all twisted and swirling.
It's chaos.
It is, but it's a beautiful chaos. That's what creates those intricate patterns and eyes in the wood. And Thuya burr has this incredible smell, like cedar and pepper. So now you've got a piece of jewelry that smells like a mix of Peruvian mint and Moroccan cedar.
Okay, that sounds incredible. Let's talk about the heavy hitters. They use ebony.
Gabon Ebony, to be specific. The absolute gold standard of black wood. It's from West Africa, and if Palo Santo is light and airy, ebony is dense, solid earth.
The description in the source material called it almost slate-like.
And that's because of its density. I mean, Gabon Ebony is one of the few woods in the world that will actually sink in water. It's so dense the grain is almost invisible. It just looks like a solid piece of black stone.
I can't even imagine the technical challenge there. You're gluing a wood that floats to a wood that sinks.
Exactly. They expand and contract at completely different rates. Wood movement is always the enemy. That's why the handmade part is so important. You can't just program a machine for this. You have to know both timbers intimately to get a bond that will last.
And last but not least, the one that's the most fun to say. Cocobolo.
Ah, Cocobolo.
Yeah.
The rock star of the wood world. Another South American hardwood, and it's known for being a kaleidoscope of color.
The pictures were insane. Reds, deep oranges, even purples.
Yep. When it's freshly cut, it can be bright purple or red, and then it oxidizes to this rich orange red. But here's the catch with Cocobolo. It's extremely oily. So oily, it's basically waterproof.
Which must make it hard to glue.
Notoriously hard. The natural oils literally push the adhesive away. So again, you need a huge amount of skill just to get it to stick to the Palo Santo.
It really feels like this workshop is intentionally picking the most difficult, character-filled woods they can find.
Absolutely. They're picking woods with personality. Cocobolo is loud. It's a statement. It feels fiery and active next to the calm of the holy wood.
So you have this global tour of botany, South America, North Africa, West Africa.
Yeah.
And it all comes together in a small workshop in Staffordshire, England.
I know, right? The juxtaposition is fantastic.
You'd expect it to be made in the Amazon, maybe,
Mm.
but no, it's this very specific British craftsmanship.
And that handmade part is everything. Because wood is organic, every single cut is different. They call it the snowflake aspect.
Quiet identity. That was the phrase that really stuck with me.
Yes. No two pendants will ever be the same. Even if they're cut from the same piece of wood, the green shifts. So if you get one, you are the only person on Earth with that exact pattern.
It's also worth pointing out the larger context of the company. It's copyrighted to KSC Crystals, and they offer courses on crystal grids.
Which is important. They see these wooden pieces as part of that same toolkit. It's a holistic approach to energetic tools.
But there's a key difference, isn't there? A crystal is a mineral. It was never alive.
That's a profound distinction, yeah. A crystal has this perfect mathematical structure, but it never breathed. It never drank water. This pendant, it grew. It fought for sunlight. It had a life.
And in the case of Palo Santo, it had a death and a long rest.
Exactly. When you wear a piece of wood, you're wearing a biological cycle. You're wearing time. I think for a lot of people, that resonates differently than stone. It feels more like a companion.
It's a lot to think about for what looks like a simple necklace. We've gone from forest floor chemistry to the physics of glowing dense woods to spiritual philosophy.
It just shows you. If you just glanced at it, you'd think, oh, nice wooden necklace. But underneath, there's botany, history, chemistry, all tied together on a cord.
And for me, the big takeaway is that shift from single-use spirituality. You know, light the sage, say the words, and you're done.
It's disposable ritual.
Yeah. This is more of a permanent talisman. It's sustainable not just for the environment, but energetically. You don't have to keep consuming it. It's just there.
It's like a constant background program running. Every time you touch it or catch that scent, it just gently pulls you back to your intention. The object is the ceremony.
I do want to leave you with one final thought that's been bugging me since we started this research.
Go for it.
If the traditional power of Palo Santo is in the release, you know, smoke rising, the transformation of solid to air, does locking it into a solid form, does it trap that spirit?
Ah, that is the big question.
By polishing it and containing it, are you putting its spirit in a beautiful little cage? Or are you giving it a way to walk with you physically in a way that smoke never could?
Does it become a passenger instead of a message?
Exactly. Is it a prison or is it a partnership? And I guess that's really up to the person who wears it to decide.
A beautiful place to leave it.
Thanks for taking this trip into the woods with us.
Anytime.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.